That's Starbucks. I'm not. Marcus, go first. Do you want to go first?
I mean, there's no such thing as good coffee. Coffee all tastes the same. Let's
No.
stop being gay. Let's just drink the fucking thing. And if you don't like coffee, don't drink coffee. Come on. I mean, I
Have
swear
you
to God, I know
traveled?
this with.
Have you traveled, Marcus? Have you had British coffee? Have you?
I have not had British coffee. I haven't had the pleasure. But every single coffee I've tasted in my life has tasted the same. And someone will tell me, "Oh, let's not go to that place. Let's go to that other place. Oh, they can't serve coffee for shit. Let's have the coffee back there. It's much better." Hey, it's the exact same fucking thing. They're like, "Oh, but this is Arabian coffee. This one comes from the poop of the goats in Ethiopia." Dude, what the fuck? It all tastes the same. Stop. Just stop. Don't make me walk a few yards more because you enjoy the coffee. It's the same fucking coffee.
Uh,
I disagree. I
exactly.
find
Go.
it's like for me, the taste of coffee, it's so different. And let me tell you, the first time because I studied for a while, around a year in Naples, in Italy, and I can remember until this day, it's been 16 years since then. And I remember that when I went there and the first coffee, this first espresso that I had, when first of all, the coffee they put first a little bit of sugar and then they take the coffee and then you have to immediately drink it. It felt like I got a shot of adrenaline. It was like my whole system, like I couldn't sleep for 2 days. Sorry. So that was a good coffee. And in Portugal, we do have also very good coffee. I think it's a matter of preference, what kind of taste, because Marcos, there's tons of tastes for coffee, right? And when I was living in Spain, I was about to throw up because that's not coffee. That's hot water with a little bit of tiny smell of coffee. It's awful. Portugal.
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 Our vegetables are like rock stars.
Literally, Portugal is a small Disneyland for grown-ups.
You know, I think that Portugal is like my geographic soulmate.
It's hard to explain what it is because it's a feeling.
And when I went there, I absolutely fell in love with Portugal.
I wanted to feel the crunchiness.
Portugal, the Simple Life Podcast.
Portugal, the Simple Life Podcast.
And we're here on his podcast, Portugal Simple Life.
Portugal, the Simple Life Podcast. Your insider's perspective into Portugal. And our latest episode starts right now. Welcome back, or welcome to another episode of Portugal, the Simple Life. I'm Dylan, and I'm delighted to be joined here by Marcus Bilro and Gabriela Melciu. Lady and gentlemen, hi, good afternoon, boa tarde.
What's up?
Thank you for being
How
on
are
the
you?
podcast. Are you both well?
Hey, hey, all good here. How about yourself?
I'm good. Marcus, you look like you're in a closet, and Gabriela, you look like you're on a balcony.
Well, it is the two sorts of homes in Portugal.
Exactly. Ladies first, Gabriela, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
Of course, they usually say age before beauty, so probably Marcus should start, but nah, I'm gonna start. But I'm pretty sure I'm older than you, Marcus. We can discuss that later. Anyway,
I mean, you should never ask a lady's
true,
age.
Exactly.
I
true,
think
true,
you're
true.
quite a bit older than I am. I just, I just look very poorly kept
That's
In
a
a
different
in a
story.
in a
That's a different
wardrobe.
story.
in a word.
Yeah, you could at least get something from your closet to make yourself look better, while you're there. But
It's the
anyway,
mission until the end of the episode.
okay.
So I'm Gabriela. I'm a stand-up comedian, and I also have like a serious life after being jobless for about a year when I decided to abandon corporate because of a burnout. So I was kind of pushed. I had this kick in the butt from life, threw me from serious job to comedy. And it was the best shift in my life so far because I really enjoy what I'm doing. I'm having a lot of fun when I perform. And I guess the difference is now people listen to me when I say shit. It's not just for myself. And it's a privilege to have people actually getting out of their houses and coming to shows and listening. And then in the end, approaching me like, "Oh my God, I have that too." So we're all a bunch of freaks, medicated or not. So yeah, that's me. I'm back to a corporate job right now.
That's
So
why you
I guess
said
I need
serious in inverted commas. For people
yeah,
listening, she used the inverted commas when she said
yeah.
serious.
Exactly. I'm trying to be serious, but I cannot do that for long.
That's why you're
The
here.
comedy
That's why you're
saves
here.
me.
Awesome.
That's why I'm here.
What about you, Marcus?
Well, I used to work in marketing, but I quit my job to chase the dream of being a full-time comedian. A little 3 years ago, I think, at this point.
Wow.
And I've been doing comedy ever since. I've performed stand-up comedy, mostly in Portuguese, once a month in English, basically.
Are you
And
funnier in English or in Portuguese? What do you reckon?
oh, I'm much better in Portuguese.
Let's see.
It really can't be compared. I suck at British comedy. But I write. I'm a script writer as well. I've written for a few shows, but mostly I do stand-up. That's what I do. I've always enjoyed stand-up. Stand-up gives you a bit of freedom. You don't really need anyone else. You don't need cameras and makeup and wardrobe.
You don't need a band.
You don't need a band. I used to do sketch comedy. But, you can't do all the sketches by yourself. You need people to show up and play parts. And people have jobs, so they can't come. In stand-up, you just need yourself, a place that is willing to have you there. So it's much easier, and I love doing it. Content doing it. So that's good, I guess.
I have something to add.
Go.
He's very good at both stand-up in English and Portuguese.
I knew it.
I saw it happening. So
we have a witness. Marcus.
Yes.
You can't.
Well, let's agree to disagree.
So, this is a special episode. You guys have joined me for a special episode. It's called Stupid Questions About Portugal.
Yes.
We've had a previous episode like this before, which we didn't get any death threats, and I don't think anybody got overly offended. So, I have received a death threat before because I mentioned an American president on this podcast, and I got death threats. But we didn't get a death threat.
Yeah, you don't fuck with Eisenhower.
Yeah, that guy.
Don't speak shit about Marcelo.
Yeah, exactly. And anyway, so how this is going to work, I'll just do some ground rules. We're just going to preface this by saying these are stupid questions about Portugal, or not. We can even discuss if it is a stupid question or not, and we're not assuming that it's coming from a stupid person, okay? Because everybody asks stupid questions at some stage in their lives. We've all had those moments.
Of course.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. My wife keeps telling me most of my questions are stupid.
You and me both. We could have a chat afterwards as well. And then we will not share the nationality of the person that asked the question. Okay, but these are real live questions that I've found. I've scoured Facebook groups and Instagram comments and YouTube channels for these questions. So these are real live questions that real people have asked about our beautiful country. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Do Portuguese people hate foreigners?
Do you want to go first, Marcos?
Well, as an actual Portuguese person,
yeah, let's preface this. Myself and Gabriela, we're Portuguese on paper.
Yeah.
You are what I'd call damn dirty foreigners.
Thank you for joining us, Marcos. It's good to have you.
The thing is, I guess it's hard to answer that because people aren't a monolith. Portuguese people aren't all the same person. So there is a subsection of people who do hate foreigners. I guess there's this idea that people from the country, from deep in the country, they are more racist than others.
Yeah.
They are less sensitive, but I don't think that they are more racist than the city folk. Like if you come from a different country and you go to a village in Castelo Branco or something, people will be looking at you, but they won't hate you. They will find you amusing, I think. You find more hate in the city. It's hard to tell. I mean, we have a big far right party that is currently having about a third of the actual votes that people cast. They have been for a far right party that do have racist ideas. So I guess logically, I can tell you that a third of the voting population doesn't find racism to be a deal breaker if they aren't racist themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would, a third is a big percentage.
Yeah, and then we have another half of the country that still doesn't even vote. 48% that didn't vote. So who knows?
We always have a big margin of people who don't vote, but I wouldn't put it past our government that they just have a lot of dead people in their books. I mean, you know how the state works.
I don't want this podcast to get shut down. Okay, like I'm scared of the dark web.
Not.
Sure, let's not. But what do you feel
as a foreigner?
As a foreigner,
I've never experienced any kind of hate ever. Curiosity. I've been told that I speak Portuguese like with a Ukrainian accent, stuff like that, but never anything but welcome, curiosity. Yeah.
Do you think it would be different if you weren't white? I'm sorry, Gabriel.
That's a good question.
Possibly. Probably. I think it's the fact that that's possible.
Well, I can reply to that.
Yes.
Because I have an experience, actually.
Okay.
As a black person.
I wish. So when I moved to Portugal 21 years ago, I didn't speak any Portuguese, so it was a little bit difficult to blend in. Because not everybody, I moved to a village next to Coimbra.
Okay.
So there were a few young people who actually spoke English, but the usual, like the people of my parents' age, grandpas, grandmas, those kind of people, they obviously didn't speak any English. So it was difficult to chat with them. Or when I was going to the coffee shop or to buy bread, I had to unshit myself, which is, by the way, my favorite expression. So
say it in
was
Portuguese.
Obvious. That's in Portuguese, it's dizer merda-te.
Yeah, I love it.
So I recommend that word to everybody. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
So I had to unshit myself, basically. And it was difficult because no matter how hard I tried to learn Portuguese or as fast, I had this Eastern Europe kind of accent. And they were like, where are you from? And for the more ignorance, it's the same thing. Doesn't matter if you're Romanian, Ukrainian, Bulgarian, Slovak, whatever. And when I would tell them like, oh, I was born in Romania, the usual, like at least half of the reactions were like, oh, so you're a gypsy. It's like, ew, you're a gypsy. So no, I was not black, but people thought I was gypsy. I was not that blonde by then.
Yeah.
And they would ask me, why aren't you blonde with blue eyes? Like, well, I don't know. Some mistakes happened on the way. I don't know.
Yeah.
So just to finish this, basically, there were two kinds of people. Those who were like, ew, you're a racist. You're a gypsy. And you came here to steal from us, our jobs, our boyfriends, blah, blah. Or there were the other people's like, oh my God, cool. So how are you doing here? Do you need anything? My name is blah, blah, blah. I live there. If you guys need anything. So I met both sides.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that this kind of, most of the racism, or if not all of it, comes from a place of not having enough education, or people not having had the experience of going somewhere. So it's not everybody has a chance to travel, although we are living in this point of history where you can pretty much can go anywhere, especially in Europe, you can travel anywhere. It's easier than 21 years ago when you needed like a lot of authorizations and blah, blah, blah. So it's difficult when like you find all kind of people. You have the racist ones, those who are racist, but they are not aware that are racist. And in the end, I felt bad for those who are like, so you're gypsies. Like, dude, Romania is more than just having a few gypsies in there, you know?
Exactly. You used to have a good football team.
Was that?
They used to have a good football team, Romania.
Yeah, they used to. I remember, I'm that
Haji.
old. Haji, Jika Haji, yes.
Yeah, good player. Okay, we'll stick on the subject. I mean, the only kind of I don't want to say racism. My father-in-law, he passed, but he could never say my name.
Oh.
So he called me Vilma.
Vilma.
From the Flintstones?
Yeah. I don't know how he went from Dylan to Vilma, but I was Vilma. He always called me Vilma.
Okay.
But that was about the worst that it got. So all good. I did once get confronted by some Ukrainian people in a bar because they were convinced that I was Ukrainian. They kept calling me comrade. And I'm like, no, my name's Dylan, not comrade. And anyway, yeah, that was another thing.
Interesting.
Well, if it makes you feel better, a lot of people can't say my name. A lot of Portuguese people can't say my name either. So
how's mine? I'm pronouncing it right.
You are doing fine, man. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Awesome. Let's stick on the language thing. And this was also a real question. Why does Portuguese sound like Russian?
Well, that's because we use a lot of the same sounds that they use.
Is it a stupid question?
It's not a stupid question.
Cool.
It's an interesting question, actually. Portuguese, even though it's really close as a language to Spanish, it doesn't really sound like Spanish. If you hear a Spanish speaking and you hear a Portuguese speaking, they don't really, you can tell, even if you don't speak the languages, you can tell they're speaking a different language. But when you listen to a Portuguese and a Russian, and you don't know the languages, you may be inclined to think that they're speaking the same language, because a lot of sounds that we have, the Spanish don't have, but the Russians do have. And it's interesting. And that's one of the big reasons why people from Russia and Ukraine, they can adapt well to the Portuguese language, because they don't really have to learn new sounds, and it's hard to learn new sounds when you're already grown up.
Yeah.
Like the Portuguese people stuck at saying the end, the queen, for instance, they can't do the sound because they didn't learn it when they were young.
Yeah.
So we don't have that sound. And same with Muslim German. It's hard to learn those sounds.
You got those sounds down.
Well, that's mostly because I'm not actually speaking the language, so I get to think about it.
You just practice random sounds in the mirror.
Yeah,
in the wardrobe.
In the wardrobe.
In my wardrobe. But yeah, so that's why Russian and Portuguese sound kind of similar, because they use the same sounds, and even though they're not using the same words, the sounds are similar. So the languages sound similar.
It's important for me to also just tell our listeners that you guys didn't get any of these questions beforehand. Okay, so we're all going off cuff here. And another question which is tailored to connect to this one, which was also a real question that I came across, was why don't they speak Spanish in Portugal? So, because you brought up the Spanish, I thought I'd just
because we have Portuñol, which is half Spanish, half Portuguese, we just speak, I mean, not me because I speak Spanish, but people usually speak a little bit louder and they try to Spanish a few words and then it kind of sounds like the same. Portuguese people, let me tell you, they are very, I don't know how to translate this into English. Marcos desenrascados.
Improvise.
We can say improvise, but it's more like, even if it's a rustic way of, they manage. Like they would always manage anything they want to. So
yeah, it's like improvisation, but not so fancy. Like
Yeah,
non-fancy
like that,
improvising.
Yeah, that's a fancy
makeshift.
word.
It's makeshift.
Yeah.
Yes. So then, I don't know, probably Marcus would be better to answer this one because he's original.
Well, you know, the thing, why don't we speak Spanish? The thing is that the Spanish don't speak Spanish either. They speak Castilian. The thing is, there were a big amount of languages in the Iberian Peninsula. There was, of course, there's still nowadays Catalan from the Catalonia region, but there was Basque. You also find a lot of Basque. There are big differences between Basque and Castilian. And there was Aragonese and rivalries and whatever. And the Galaico-Portuguese was the root from whence Portuguese came. So why don't we speak Spanish? Because when we separated from Spain, Spain didn't speak Spanish. Spain was a collection of kingdoms. And it was quite some time later that the Spanish all agreed to become Spain and adopt a single language, much like Italy and Germany. They weren't countries until relatively recently. So, fun fact, that's why we Portuguese people have Portuguese words for a lot of German cities. For instance, Köln, we call it Colonia. There's no reason for us to have a word for a specific German city, but we do because back then it was a country. So we translated the name. We wouldn't translate random cities from other countries because they weren't never countries themselves. So that's why. Sorry, I'm probably being...
To be fair, the Spanish did want us to speak Spanish. They wanted us to be Spain at some stage. So,
yeah,
they failed
quite a few times.
And that's why Catalans, because I lived in Barcelona for a few years and I got to know from them. And those fuckers made me learn Catalan. I have never used it once since I moved back from Barcelona because only Catalans speak Catalan, you know. They are very mad with Portuguese because they kind of got rid of Spain, but they cannot get to be independent. So, yeah, whenever I was saying, oh, I'm coming from Portugal, like, ew.
Yeah, how did
so
you
it's
do
interesting to look back at history to see why does that come from?
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
Yeah. Between my job as a realtor at Portugal Realty and hosting this podcast, life is pretty busy. But lately I've been receiving so many messages from people that want to know more about buying property here on Portugal's Silver Coast that I've got to do something about it. So starting now, for subscribers only, I'm offering up a 30-minute session per day. That's 5 30-minute sessions for a one-on-one meeting to talk about buying property here on Portugal's beautiful Silver Coast. This is for subscribers only. So please subscribe to book your session and get in touch with us through the links below via WhatsApp or email to book your session today. I'll be happy to speak to you. It's for subscribers only and it's completely free. Okay, another one. This is completely different subject matter, and I'm very curious to hear what both of you have to say about this one. Are Portuguese men romantic?
Marcos, I can start.
I think I will leave you to this.
Unless you want to, it's fine. It's a safe space. Maybe your wife could reply to this one. So
he's in the closet for a reason.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So
Gabriela, go on. Tell us.
I found both. I did have a very romantic boyfriend for a while back in college.
Is that
Um,
because it was a college thing? You know, because in college,
I
like the
don't
guys
think,
are
I don't
more
know, probably
sensitive.
because it doesn't happen anymore with the Portuguese. So I'm like, are they? I don't know. I don't think, I don't know. I haven't, I don't know them all, right? But I had a very good experience and then a very
Glad that
cold
you don't. I'm glad
experience.
you don't know
So
them all. That would be. Then
I don't want to.
that lady that said you were a gypsy stealing the men, she may have had a
Exactly.
point. You know.
They were right. I'm here to steal all the boyfriends. But yeah, I did have a very good experience, a very romantic one, but it was one.
That's it. Just one.
Yeah.
Are you
So
romantic, Marcos? Are you a romantic guy?
It's hard to,
why?
because I really don't know. I think I'm not. I think I'm a bit cold and distant sometimes, so I'm probably not a very romantic person.
But it's not because you're Portuguese. It's just because you're Marcos.
Yes. I don't think
Do
I'm
you have
the
any romantic
average
Do you have
person.
any friends who you would say that guy's a romantic guy?
It's maybe, but you never know how someone is in their intimacy. I can't really.
But don't
I
you
can't.
guys think that someone being romantic can be shown even with their friends, not only in the dating or
Should be.
I
right?
mean, if you take the word romantic to mean someone who is an idealist, that is romantic in that sense,
Hopeless romantic.
then yes, I know quite a few romantic people. If you're saying it in the relationship sense, I can't really tell you. But yeah, I know people who are hopelessly romantic, people who think, if you do the right thing, good things will happen to you, and that's good, I guess. I have quite a few friends like that, and I enjoy being their friend. So
anything to
But
add?
listen, this is the country of Fado. So I know it's a lot more like painful and singing about and feelings and stuff. So I think it's also
Saudade.
sometimes could be a little bit
Saudade is a
romantic,
romantic notion.
right?
Saudade, right?
It's a
yeah,
sensitive
exactly.
situation.
Yes,
So
that's a good point.
We in the previous stupid questions got into a thing about like are Portuguese men exotic? Because women come here, Southern Europe, they're expecting this kind of like this Southern Europe lover thing, and then they seem to get disappointed.
Well, I can, I'm not a exotic person by any stretch of the
We'll be the
imagination.
judge of that, Marcos. We'll be the judge.
But I did once. I used to, people know people, so I knew this British girl who thought that she thought that I sounded Romanian.
ooh,
She would,
connections everywhere.
she would make fun of my Dracula accent.
That's why you're in the closet. You can't have direct sunlight exposure.
Yeah, I'm avoiding garlic and sunlight.
But you're in the wrong country if you're trying to avoid garlic.
But yeah, so I guess that person found me, but she was from Kent, so I don't know if that counts. Plus, there was a Polish lady who also thought that I was like the Portuguese Rodrigo Santoro. But I guess when you're used to Mikhail, Marcos looks exotic. But
yeah. All right. Let's get on to some food and beverage questions. So actually, to be fair, we've had a few questions where they're possibly not stupid questions.
okay.
Right? None of these ones that I've asked, none of them would qualify outright as a stupid question.
No, there are no stupid questions.
Okay. Wait. So, why is Portuguese food boring? Real question.
Portuguese food, first of all, it's not boring, and that question, it's not stupid. It just comes from someone who doesn't know Portuguese food.
They thought they did. They said
No. There's a ginormous amount of dishes. They used to say, is that Marcos? Is that true? Is it about the bacalhau that they say they
300
have
and something recipes.
one for each day of the year?
Correct.
And that's only bacalhau by itself. So they need to probably travel a little bit more and explore different areas and not only think rice with chicken or grilled fish. I don't know. Marcos, the stage is yours.
Do you like Portuguese food, Marcos?
I do like Portuguese food, and more than trying to defend our countries, I will say why I think people think that Portuguese food is boring. Like Gabriela said, we have a whole lot of ways of cooking codfish, but we're still just cooking codfish. So if you don't enjoy codfish, you're gonna think this is a boring place to come eat. It doesn't sound interesting to say someone, I can cook this fish 1,000 different ways. Yeah, but can we eat something else? So, yeah, a lot of Portuguese food, and I love the smell of, I don't know how to say it in English.
The what?
But when you mince garlic, you mince onions, you put them in a pot, you warm it up with some olive oil, and instantly it smells delicious. And I could tell you 250 dishes that start like that. And then they will end up being something else. But those flavors will be in the final dish. So you can make the argument that a lot of Portuguese dishes may look and taste the same. But again, there are a lot of dishes that are very different. If you go to Setúbal, you can have some nice, what's the fish called?
Shockfriet.
Yeah, shock. It's cuttlefish, I believe, maybe.
Choco is cuttlefish, yeah.
Cuttlefish, okay.
Yeah.
So, and it looks nothing like what you eat if you go to Porto. You have dobrado there. It's the guts of the animal, beef guts and whatever. So there is diversity, but you're only gonna find that out if you stay here for a long time and you eat in several different places. Seeing as most people don't do that, they come to Lisbon, they visit Lisbon, they eat in the 3 or 4 tourist traps that they find. You're gonna end up with a lot of codfish and a lot of steak and fries. So you probably are gonna make the assumption that Portuguese food is boring, and I understand.
See, he's such a nice guy. You see, we were both like, that is a stupid question. And Marcus is like, no, actually, this is why they're asking in Portuguese what he did.
We can get to a conclusion about the Portuguese people just by these answers.
Exactly. Too kind.
Well, I don't think I represent my people well. But,
let's see if this one, because this is related. Real question. Why can't I get good coffee in Portugal?
What?
Why can't I get good coffee?
Where are these people going for coffee?
Starbucks.
Then it's not good.
The only one that there is.
That's Starbucks. I'm not. Marcus, go first. Do you want to go first?
I mean, there's no such thing as good coffee. Coffee all tastes the same.
No.
Let's stop being gay. Just drink the fucking thing. And if you don't like coffee, don't drink coffee. Come on. I mean, I swear to God, I know this.
Have you traveled, Marcus? Have you had British coffee? Have you?
I have not had British coffee. I haven't had the pleasure. But every single coffee I've tasted in my life has tasted the same. And someone will tell me, "Oh, let's not go to that place. Let's go to that other place. Oh, they can't serve coffee for shit. Let's have the coffee back there. It's much better." It's the exact same fucking thing. They're like, "Oh, but this is Arabian coffee. This one comes from the poop of the goats in Ethiopia." Dude, what the fuck? It all tastes the same. Stop. Just stop. Don't make me walk a few yards more because you enjoy the coffee. It's the same fucking coffee.
I disagree. I
Exactly.
find it's like, for me, the taste of coffee, it's so different. And let me tell you, the first time because I studied for a while, around a year in Naples, in Italy. And I can remember until this day, it's been 16 years since then. And I remember that when I went there, and the first coffee, this first espresso that I had, first of all, the coffee they put first a little bit of sugar, and then they take the coffee, and then you have to immediately drink it. It felt like I got a shot of adrenaline. It was like my whole system, like I couldn't sleep for 2 days. Sorry. So that was a good coffee. And in Portugal, we do have also very good coffee. I think it's a matter of preference, what kind of taste, because Marcos, there's tons of taste for coffee, right? And when I was living in Spain, I was about to throw up because that's not coffee. That's hot water with a little bit of tiny smell of coffee. It's awful. So Spanish people in Spain do not have good coffee. Yes, but in Portugal, you find tons of good coffee. The Delta, the Portuguese brands, although it's not made here, obviously. But you just, I don't know, go find your best, the coffee you like more. But we have very good coffee here. I'm sorry, it comes from all over the world. Africa, South America, whatever you
Brazil.
want. It tastes different. I'm passionate about coffee.
So would you say that that's a stupid question?
I would say they need to search more and better for their favorite coffee. They probably were not lucky to find a good coffee.
Don't go to Marcos for advice about coffee, because apparently it all tastes the same.
I can advise people about coffee.
I was blown away when I first moved here, because it was like you have a cafe pingado, you have a cafe cheio, you have a batonado, you have all these different types of coffees. I think people are expecting a cappuccino, and we just don't do that, really. Made late, or a galao. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
There's an actual strong coffee tradition here, and those things you mentioned, there are a whole lot of ways of having coffee, a lot of preferences, and because it's such an old thing, every restaurant, every snack bar has those concepts in mind. They know, everyone knows what a café curto is. Everyone knows what is a café sem princípio. So yeah, from that point of view, I would say that our coffee must be good.
You just don't know that from experience. You don't know. You can't.
Yeah, I don't care. I really don't care.
Okay. This one, I'm going to put we'll wrap up with this question. To put it into context, this was from a person who went to a Portuguese festa, like a festa popular in a village near where I live, which is Caldas de Rainha area, Abidos.
Okay.
And they commented about how none of the Portuguese people at this festa seemed annoyed that they were standing in lines waiting for food or for a drink or for the kids to go on a ride, and their question was, do Portuguese people just enjoy standing in lines? So, who wants to go first?
Marcos.
Well, that's a very English stereotype. The concept of standing in the queue. And I guess you can say that we are an orderly people. I think I usually say that Portugal is the England of the South, because we've had a strong connection, the oldest alliance in the world. We've had several periods where they assumed direct control of our government. So maybe some of that rubbed in on us, and we ended up absorbing some of that culture. But I think we don't enjoy standing in queues. We just accept that we have to in order to get the thing that we want, which is a sandwich, a delicious sandwich, or a delicious cup of coffee, a nice bifan, a nice crepe in Aldridge, crepes with the
ginger,
shot of ginger. Yeah. So we don't enjoy standing in lines. We just we are a very resigned people. we don't really make waves. The only revolution we've had, like 2 people died in the whole thing, and it was mostly by accident. So it's the sort of people we are. We are peaceful, above all.
Yeah, so we don't necessarily want to be standing in the line, but we will make the best of. The thing I find is how the whole family will stand in one line, like everybody together.
It's a quality time. You can get to stay in touch with yours and chat.
Yeah.
And observe.
There's a French comedian called Laura. She does comedy in Portuguese and in English too, and in French. And she says that the Portuguese have this concept that is é o que é.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I mean, you have to stand in the queue. Well, it is what it is. It's life. It's life. And we are really good at standing in queues. And we go to places hours before they open, so we can stand in the queue. We need a good place in the queue. So yeah.
Let me just add that even for the public transportation, if like the people who are driving their own cars and never get a bus, for example, around Lisbon, in the morning, if you go around, for instance, Sete Rios or these points where you have plenty of buses, for example, you see a massive long line, dozens of meters of people just in line waiting for their moment to get in. Like they just respect us.
Yeah. Do you like standing in lines?
I fucking hate it.
Not a time to connect.
It depends. If I'm having like in a village party, yeah, I'm gonna be there with a friend or two and we're gonna talk shit and we don't even know when the time passes. Like we're not waiting for our turn. We just do stuff and then it's us that we get to ask for our food or whatever. So it's a matter of it's like everything in life. We're gonna end philosophical. It's what you do with things. It's whatever you get from there. Like it's
also a good time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go.
It's a great time. Like if you're in a group of like 10 people, and we need beer, so 2 guys go to the line.
Stand in the
and this is the only opportunity you're gonna have to speak to that one person alone.
Exactly.
So you're gonna. So how have you been doing? So tell me stuff. What the fuck have you been doing with your life? And so you have a whole half hour of conversation with that person. You come back with 10 beers. Everyone is served, and then 2 other people get to go have a chat when the beers are over. So yeah,
that's facts.
So maybe we do like lines in the end.
Depends of the lines.
Yeah, depends if to get everything in the line, get everything you wanted. Marcus, are you still there? There you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Guys, this is fun. We've now established that maybe none of them were stupid questions.
Yeah,
maybe the coffee one. Maybe the coffee one.
Maybe they're mean questions, but
yeah,
no such thing as stupid question.
Yeah, I agree.
We can still try to discover them. Gabriela, how can people follow you? Well, both of you. How can people follow you guys online and see when you're up at when you're doing a gig or a show? And stay in touch.
So I'm more active in terms of comedy and whatever on Instagram, Gabriela _L _ Mel, MEL, which is half of my surname. I usually post there like new shows, whatever. It's where I share stupid shit about what I'm doing. That was a closed Instagram account. just for me and my friends. But then when I started comedy, I thought, yeah, maybe I should open this. And sometimes it's awkward. But yeah, follow me if you can.
Cool. We'll put a link. Marcus, what
Yeah,
about you?
thank you.
Well, you can follow me by typing my name on Instagram. It's Marcos Bilro with no space. And yeah, I mostly perform in Portuguese. I will be this week on the 4th of March. I will be at a comedy show with Gabriela because she invited me.
Nice.
But mostly I
That's kind.
don't really do a lot of English comedy. So if you want to watch me in English, that's your opportunity right there. 4th of March, cheesy comedy, I believe it's called.
Yes.
And yeah, so that's it.
Awesome. Awesome. I'll put some links in the show notes. And then finally, and ladies first, question that we ask all of our guests. Portugal, the simple life. Why?
Because it has amazing, tasty food and mostly very good weather.
And coffee.
So even when shit hits the fan, if we get a little bit of sun somewhere by the beach, hopefully, and some grilled fish with a tiny bit of salt and the bread, we're good.
I like it. Marcos.
Well, I guess you can say Portugal the easy life if you come from a country with a strong currency. You know, I think we may be the Thailand of Europe because, you know, oh, you go to Thailand and you eat a lobster dinner for $3. And so if you come from a Nordic country, if you come from Germany, you come to Portugal, yes, you will have an easy life because your salary is 6 months of our salary. So our prices are very affordable to you. So I don't like to romanticize life in Portugal. If you come from a country that has a harder time, you will have a harder time here. You will have to work a lot. But overall, I think we aren't as bad a country as most of us think. We are safe. I talk to a lot of people that come from other countries, and that's the thing that they really stress, is that it's a safe country, and that makes me happy. It makes me sad that people have to run away from their countries, but it makes me happy that we live in a safe country. So yeah, that's it.
True story. Nicely put. Thank you very much. Gabriela, Marcos, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This was fun.
Thank you for having us.
And I'm going to let you guys call it.
Okay.
That's a wrap.
So thank you once again to our guest, and thank you to all of you for listening. Please subscribe, share with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and please leave a comment or a review. We always love to hear from you. Don't forget, Portugal the Simple Life also has a magazine, so download it. It's for free. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And as we say in Portugal, sejas bem-vindo. Welcome to the Simple Life.